Hi everybody, Ben here from Art Less Ordinary. So I am going to do a cloud cell pour or pearl pour, whichever you like to call them. So it will be one of these styles of paintings, but I'm doing a slightly different colours this time. So I went to the shops today and I got Brilliant Purple, which is like a real pastel-y purple, and Naples Yellow, which is like a pastel peach. And I thought those two colours look really nice together, but I got to do a background colour. So the background colour is marte Purple. So these are the two pearl colours, and the background colour is the plain purple. So these are thinner than marte, so I had to do my mixtures a little bit different. So where we are at is the marte Purple is this one here. So this is 80 grams paint, 160 grams Australian floetrol, and 35 grams water. Then these two are mixed with the satin enamel in pure white. They were 32 grams paint and about 10 grams the satin enamel. So in total they came to 42 grams with the two bits of paint. So then I added about 84 grams of floetrol and no water. They were thinner, so I didn't need to add water. I didn't really want to add water to them because they got to be a little bit thicker than the base color. So this canvas is also a 16 by 20 inch. So it's a large canvas, well, larger canvas than I normally do. So that's the paint mixtures. So really I've only used 16 grams of this. So you don't use a lot of the satin enamel to do this artwork, which is really good. So it's one of the fun ones to do. And you just have to judge it by what brand paint you have. So these ones leave a mark, but it doesn't sit too long, probably maybe 2 seconds. And this one sits for about 1.5 seconds. Yeah, about 1.5 seconds for the base coat and about 2 seconds for the colours. I don't think it matters if the timing is like, doesn't have to be exactly 2 seconds or 1.5 seconds, as long as that is thinner than them. Awesome. So this canvas is a little bit more flexible. So I'm going to pour it here. Can we see that cup? Just maybe I will move this out the way. This is my little dirty tablecloth that I have that I'm going to probably throw away soon. So in this cup, we want to pour probably about 1/3 of this in here. There we go, that's about 1/3, I think. Then we set that purple aside. Now, we want to pour this in from a height so it smashes down. You want it to reach the bottom as much as you can. So pour it from a height into it, and I'm going to use about half. Then I'm going to slightly turn it and pour about half of this one. I'm not sure if this cup's big enough. I might have put too much of the base coat in. Turn it again and pour the rest of this one in. So now that most of it has smashed down into the cup, it doesn't matter that a little bit sits on top. You just wanted most of it to smash down in, otherwise it all sits right at the top and doesn't really get into the paint, and it doesn't separate as much. and it will end up coming out in a clump. But can you see the effects already starting to happen in the cup? And then we just want to pour in the rest of this one. So I like purple and orange together, but this is more of a, because it's a pastel purple and a pastel like peachy colour, or so a pastel orange, they're a little bit easier to blend. They don't mix and make mud as easily as if you were using normal purple and normal orange. So now we want to set this cup aside. Over there's beautiful. Now bring our canvas back. So I just wanted to show you how you pour that into that cup to get the best effects. Now let me see, get this in the right spot. How's that? That looks good. Not blurry. No, it's not blurry. You can see my hand. So now we want to pour this onto the canvas. So I probably could have put a little bit less in the original cup, because we do actually want to coat this whole canvas. Set that aside. I use a palette knife. You can use whatever you like. And we want to coat this canvas. Doesn't have to be absolutely perfect. It just needs to be coated to where it's wet, so the paint glides over better, because you don't want it to just sit there. And when there's no paint on the canvas, or when the base coat is already dry, sorry about my head, I'll be out of the way in a second. I'll show you once my head's out of the way. That will probably be easier. And I have done this with deep-sided canvases as well. I did find the short-sided canvases were a little bit easier to work with. Okay, now my head's out of the way. So when it's dry and the paint goes over the edges, it rolls over itself, and by doing so you lose the colour that's on the edge. When the canvas is wet, by having a base coat, it kind of slides across. Instead of rolling over itself like that, it slides across, and that's what you kind of want with this this type of pour. So we're just coating this. I'm trying to do this on camera so you guys can actually see exactly how I do it, because I do get a few people ask questions, and I do actually show everything in my videos. So not that I don't want to answer questions, but I'm actually really busy. I work full-time, I study, I'm a horticulturalist, so I actually have other garden hobbies that I do out of my artwork as well. So I don't always have a lot of time to reply straight away or get back to people, and I feel bad about that. So that's why I try to keep as much information in my videos as possible, so everyone gets to learn how it's done. Not so I don't have to answer questions, but just if I haven't got time and I don't get back to people straight away, they don't feel like I've completely abandoned them or their question. And I do feel bad if there is questions that I haven't had a chance to get back to yet. I am quite busy, and I do feel really bad about that. So we're nearly coated, and I would love to say I have been doing this And lately I've been getting some pictures from one of my nieces, Sage, and she's been showing me her pouring art that she's been doing after watching some of my videos, and they are beautiful. She's so sweet. So I'd like to say thank you, Sage, for showing me your artwork, because that makes me so super happy. I like it when anyone shows me their artwork, but when it's your lovely little niece that's been copying things that you do, it makes you feel really special. So as you can see, I just am making sure that the canvas is wet. Try to make it evenish with this base coat. It doesn't have to be completely even. You just don't want all the paint sitting at one side and not across the canvas. So I hope to see more pictures from you, Sage, if you're watching this one. I love to seeing your art. It's beautiful. Okay. I've even got aunties and that ask me questions, and it's actually been really fun. I got people at work that watch my videos, so I'm actually getting questions about it wherever I go now, which is kind of awesome. And I'd like to thank everyone. I have 828 subscribers. Like, I'm thrilled about how many people have subscribed and watching my videos. Couldn't be happier. I will put gloves on because I am going to be tilting this. Alrighty. So we are still in focus. Yes, we are. Excellent. Okay, so now I've got my gloves on. And I used Australian floetrol to do this. So see how the cap's already making effects in there? So those colours are coming up. So we want to pinch this, if I can, without spilling it. So now we want to pour it into the middle from a reasonable height, because we want this to smash down into itself as well, okay? So here we go. So see that last little bit that comes out? That's when the paint's not heavy enough to smash into itself and it sits on top. That won't change very much. This other stuff will get pearls. That part won't. It will go cloudy because it's got cloud paint in it, but it won't actually create pearls. Now we're going to turn the blowtorch on, or your heat gun, and we are going to pop every bubble that we can for the moment. So I don't think you guys can see this, but as I torch this center part, there's thousands of little bubbles that are popping. So I just want to get a bunch of them out now. Alrighty, there we go. So the bubbles pop when you pour it in as a dirty pour. So I'm just going to re-level this. So I'm pouring the paint that way, but before it gets to the edge, I'll stop and let it come back. Alrighty. I can see pearls coming up already. So it's not a lot of colours in this one. I wanted to do it these two colours. I wanted it to be, I like these colours together in the shop, and I thought, nah, that's what I'm going to do. So Because I got it on this plastic and not on my normal trays, the push pins stick a little bit. So just gently move the paint around a little bit. I'm going over this way, but before I go over the edge, I'm going to come back. And now I'm going to come down a little bit. And again, before it starts going over the edge, I want to stop and come back. For now, I'm just moving the paint around, just covering the canvas a little bit. I don't actually want to go over the edge just yet. See how the paint's gliding, not rolling over itself? That's what we want. Come back, sorry. Still haven't been able to get hold of another light. The shop has actually not got them back in again. And this last corner, and come back. Alrighty. So as you can see, they're the pearls that are coming up, and that's the bit that was last out of the cup, the center part. Alrighty. I may use my corner catcher, I think. There is a lot of paint on here, but I'd rather use the corner catcher and then tip off extra if I want to. So I'm going to go to this top corner up here first. So gliding along. Come on into the corner. Okay, come back a little bit. Take the corner catcher off. And then bring the paint back down into the middle. And now we go down to this corner. Don't want to lose too many of that ring of pearls that I have. That's already come up. Which I am at the side. In the corner, back a little bit, remove it. And then bring that paint back. Sorry, this canvas is a bit bigger, so it's a little bit heavier. So I've lost a little bit of that ring that I was hoping not to lose. Now coming down to this corner. So larger canvases are actually harder to work with than smaller canvases. Bring that back. And then remove that corner. Don't put your corner catcher over your canvas. Bring the paint back to the middle. And then go to this corner. I've got beautiful pearls in that corner. I don't want to lose them either. I'm hoping I don't. So sometimes just take it as you go, but slow, don't rush. Got to go a little bit in there, into that corner, come back. So I managed to catch some of those pearls with the corner catcher, but I lost a few others. And then bring all the paint back down into the center. And now I'm going to get my corner catcher out of the way. I got a lot less room with this bigger canvas. Now, so I'm just going to hop on my knees so it's easier for me to pick up this canvas and control it a little bit. Now, if there is a section of this you don't want, pour that side off first. I actually don't mind what I've got, I just want more to come up. So what we're going to do is we're just going to move the paint around a bit, go that way, come back to the middle. Sorry, it gets a bit dark when that light isn't in the right spot. Coming down a little bit. Don't push off any of these bottom pearls that I've got. I want them to stay. They are going to enlarge and stretch a bit because I'm moving the paint around. Bring it back to the middle. Now we're going to go to this corner. Alright, don't want to push those pearls off, so come back. So if you feel like you're ruining your pattern, stop tilting. What I just want to do is I just want the paint to move around, because the more it moves, the more pearls you're likely to get. Or clouds. Really, it is a cloud pour, because that's what you're doing, but they come up like a pearl. So sometimes I call them pearls, sometimes I call them clouds. Kind of call things whatever I feel like at the time, or whatever my brain thinks of. Just always try to bring your paint back to the full center before you move it again. Otherwise, you do start skewing, the pearls don't stay in shape as good. They get very elongated. I don't think I'm going to be able to do too much more tilting, so now I just want to put that center where I want it. So I want it to be a little bit up to that corner, not directly in the center. So the issue is going to be, this will ultimately still change. I think that feels even. I'm going to have to be a little bit more careful with this, because I don't have this sitting on a tray, so I can't prop it up with pop sticks like I normally do. I'd have to prop up the whole table from the base. Okay. I think that looks good. I think I'm still in camera. I'm going to get my gloves off because they're sticking and they're getting in the way. You can do this without gloves, but you will just have coloured hands, especially because it's got satin enamel in it. Anything with satin enamel sticks to your skin so easily. Alright, we are in camera. Beautiful. Oh, that wears you out a little bit. I think sometimes I don't breathe properly when I'm concentrating because I'm tilting, and I kind of hold my breath when I really shouldn't be. Got to breathe. Now, I'm going to, this is not a necessity part, this is a part that's optional. I'm going to torch again and remove the rest of the bubbles. It will put little pinhole dots. Sometimes they are colours from the satin enamel colours, sometimes it's the background colour. When the paint pops, it leaves a mark from virtually the colour underneath shows up when it pops. So you get little tiny minuscule dots. You don't notice it from a distance, you only do when you're close up and you're looking at it. I actually don't find it unpleasant, but just remember it is an option. It is an optional task. So I can see where it's done tiny little pinholes. Some of them have come up this orange, the Naples yellow, which is like a peach. Some have come up the brilliant violet, I think it is. And some have come up the darker, like over here, you can see the darker purple has come up through it. I don't mind that, so I don't fuss over it. Now, I'm happy with this composition. It's given me nice, it's actually full of pearls or full of clouds all along through the base. You've got like this ring that runs around and comes up through. No, I think it missed my artwork. So be very careful when it's hot. You do not want to drop sweat onto this. It's humid and I'm sweating a little bit. And you can't let a piece, if one drop of your sweat lands in this, it will leave a mark. And it won't be a very pleasant mark. So do your best to have paper towels or a towel to wipe your face if it looks like you're going to drop sweat. I'm a bloke, I don't know if we sweat more or not. most likely. But yeah, just keep that in mind because you don't really want it to happen. Now I am going to scrape my edges and double check that my corners are done, because you did have a corner catcher there. Well, I did. And you don't want there to be a blank spot because of that corner catcher, which does sometimes happen. It doesn't look like it has this time, but there is a bug flying around and he is going to do his best to get in my artwork. That little brat. Okay, now I've got paint all over me. So with this now, my best bet is to let it settle for about, I'm going to say 5 to 10 minutes, just to let it, so I'll pause the camera and show you the difference. Now, I believe my main thing, my focal point I've tried to off-center. I think it's going to move back to the center. This canvas has a little bit of, it wasn't, I think the word's taut, it wasn't very tight. It wasn't too flexible, but it wasn't hugely tight. And I think it's going to sink a little bit. You don't want, so when that happens, it will pull your edges towards that center. But I can't do much about that one. The bigger the canvas, the more likely it is to happen. So, this is the artwork. All as I can do now is pause, let it settle into itself, and come back in about 5-7 minutes and see what else has changed. Here we go. Okay, it's been 7-8 minutes, and I think some of the clouds or pearls cells have developed a little bit more, but hasn't overly changed. I think it has come down this way a little bit more. So all as we do now is we check to see if it needs scraping on the edges again. And it doesn't look like it needs to be. If you find paint is coming off one particular side, the whole painting will continue to move that way. So you need to prop up or make sure that your surface is completely level before you start. So now it's just moving to the middle because the middle sags slightly. So that's just, it's part of what happens with fluid art. But I think this is pretty awesome. These clouds, pearls, cells have all come up and bunched into each other and made nice pebbles, even out throughout here. We've got some nice individual ones around, but there's not a lot of that original dark purple colour. It's in the background, but the other colours mix through it and change the colour and the tone of it. I like this. I'm really, really happy. I like the colours together. It's not over the top bold with multiple colours, but at the same time, I didn't really want that. I wanted something a little bit more easier to place. So sometimes more subtle artwork is easier to place into a room or a home. I love this. I think it's awesome. Lots of clouds, cells, pearls have all come up. So it's covered most of the canvas. There's not a boring part in my eyes in this artwork. So it may not be what everyone loves. I actually would have to say these type of cloud pours are probably my ones that don't get viewed as much or as many likes. But I love them. I think they're absolutely awesome. Everyone has their own taste, and I don't expect everyone to love what I love, but I make the art because I enjoy it. So if it's not everyone's cup of tea and it doesn't get as many views, oh well, it's not the end of the world for me. I'm doing it because I'm enjoying it. So that is it. I will bring you down for a close-up, but remember, it is a larger canvas, so I haven't really zoomed in at all. This is kind of just what is here. So let's pause it and come down for a closer look. Okay, so here we go from my angle. Remember, the lighting in this room isn't the best anymore. I have to get another light. But let's come down, check out this center. So this is the part that didn't sink in here. See how it sits on top and doesn't get it gets cloudy but doesn't get pearly, like these ones, how they separate. how they come up, and they come up through the other colors, so they get that ring around the edge of the other color, so they actually look like a little cell or a pearl. When this one here all stays as a clump, that's because that's sat on top. But as you can see, there is pearls and clouds all the way from one end down to the other. And that, I really like that peachy color. It says Naples yellow, but I really think it's a peach. And this is more, it's got more of a purple tone to it. It looks a little bit more blue in the camera. Cameras don't always pick up the colors perfectly. And as you can see, that ring goes around and up across the top, and then we get all these cells. Ooh, I got close then, didn't I? All these cells that pop up. But I really love how these look. They got texture to them. They look 3D in a way when it's actually dried, and it's because of the way that it has formed. They still have that texture look about them. But yeah, so this is the whole artwork. I hope you enjoyed this. So like, comment, share, and subscribe. And when you subscribe, make sure you click the all button. So I hope you enjoyed this. Have a wonderful evening, and I'll see you for another pour soon. Okay, bye.